Hello there everyone, and welcome back to how to make a mod in Tmodloader. In the last episode I showed how to create a basic enemy that I believe used zombie AI. In this video we're going to be covering how to create a boss that's going to have some custom AI. This video is going to be split into two parts. The first part is going to cover the basic body of the boss, so like the defaults and its loot and whatnot. Everything except the AI. We're going to cover how to create the boss bag and summon item, and we're going to also create the boss down system as well as a projectile, though that might come in part 2. So I'm going to show you what the sort of design of what we're going to create. So let's just jump over to this world. So I've just got this boss summon item. Well, apparently I've already got one on the hotbar, so we summon it. You can see it has the boss bar below. Then you can see it floating around. See it moving towards us. It occasionally charges, starts slow. It actually created the projectile that's actually not being included in the code because I'm removing it. You can see it charge, and then we have a second phase where it moves faster and actually creates the projectile we are going to use, this homing projectile. As you can see, it still continues to charge. And then when we kill it, it's dropping our bar. So let's head over to Visual Studio and we'll show how to do that. So I've already created the assets that we're going to need. I'll show you them quickly. We have the boss itself, which is a 8 long strip with 4 frames for the first phase, 4 frames for the second, and the second phase is literally just a recolor where it turns red. We have the boss head, which is what's seen on the map. The projectile that will be homing in on the player. We have this attempt at a deflated balloon, which is going to act as the boss summon item. And then we have the boss bag as well. So let's focus on creating the body of the boss itself. Let me just open that. So I've created an NPC's bosses folder. We're going to create a class called tutorial boss. Let it load in. Extend mod NPC. Make sure you're using Terraria.modloader. I'm going to make that public. I'm going to also remove all these. So what's important for bosses is you need to make sure that the boss head is loaded in. To do this, we do auto load boss head. We do that before the class. And that tells Terraria that we are creating a boss that's going to have a head, or create an enemy that's got a head that needs to be shown. So now we're going to do what Visual Studios is suggesting. Let's do the set static defaults. So I'm going to just put that in. And what we need to do is set up the frames for this. So main.npc frame count of type is equal to 8. Then we're going to set up some variables that are used to make sure the boss is summonable, make sure the boss has certain priorities, and as well as immunities to certain buffs or debuffs or whatever. So first of all, we're going to do MP allowed enemies of type is equal to true. mcid.sets.boss best area priority .add type. Then we're gonna make it immune to poison. So we do mcid.sets.specific debuff immunity of type. Then we pass in the buff ID of poisoned equals true. Now let's set up the bestiary so it shows the boss correctly. So mcid dot sets dot npc bestiary draw modifiers draw mods equals new, and we can set a custom texture. I haven't got it set up in the assets folder, but in the assets folder under textures you might have a preview for the boss. I forgot about this part of the code, so I'll cover that in part 2. But for now we can do portrait scale is equal to 0.6f and portrait position y override is equal to 0f. Just make sure it's low. Then we do mcid.sets.mc bestiary draw offset dot add type, and then we pass in draw mods. So that's all we're going to have for the set static defaults. So let's move on to the set defaults. So override set defaults. Set the width and the height. I'm going to do 64. mc.height equals 128. It's going to be fairly tall. So I'll just put in comments. Hitbox. Damage and defense. So mc.damage. This is how much damage it does. We'll set that to 32. mc.defense. We'll set that to 15. Now we want to set the maximum health. So mc.life max is equal to, and we'll actually increase it to 7500. And we're going to make sure it has knockback resistance. So we scroll down. mc.knockback resist equals 0f. Let's add some sounds. npc.hit sound is equal to sound id.npc hit 1. npc.def sound is equal to sound id.npc def 1. So because we have this boss flying through the air, we want to make sure that it's not affected by gravity. Put this under collision. npc.no-gravity is equal to true, and npc.no-tile-collide is also equal to true. That way it will go through tiles instead of hitting them, which wouldn't work for this boss. We need to set boss settings. So npc.spawn with higher timer. This ensures that it doesn't despawn. We're going to make sure it's set to a boss, so do npc.boss equals true. We're going to make it take up a number of slots to make sure normal enemies don't spawn, so we do npc.npc slots, and we're going to set that to 10f. And finally, npc.ai style equals -1. That's that for the defaults. So we're going to override some functions that are just going to help flesh out this boss. So override can hit player. We're going to do cooldown slot equals immunity cooldown ID dot bosses return true. That ensures that there's some immunity time upon hitting a player, so the players are just instantly killed. Let's create the loot table. So override, modify, NPC loot. And to do this, we do NPC dot. Oops, so let's start again. NPC loot dot add item drop rule. We need to import that dot common, and we're going to pass in our content dot item type of, and we're going to do our, what did I call it? Tutorial bar. Tutorial bar. And we'll make it drop between 2. Sorry, let me start again. We're going to make sure it drops 100% of the time between 2 and 5. So drop tutorial bar 100% of the time 2 to 5 bars. Then drop rare bar 20% of time, and we'll do 2 to 5 bars as well. NPC loot dot add item drop rule dot common mod content of item type tutorial rare bar, and this will be trying to remember which way you do it. I think it's that for 20%. I might be wrong. A 1 in 1 chance would be 100. A 1 in 5 chance would be 20%. That feels right to me. I could be wrong. If you want to add some hard mode stuff, so let's do if hard mode. Do if main dot hard mode NPC loot dot add item drop rule, and we'll make it drop the, let's do the tutorial summon stuff. Make it quite rare, 10% of the time, 1-1. So actually we could just do that. Actually let's reduce that. 1 in 4 chance, 25% chance to drop summon item in hard mode. And that's basically all we need for the tutorial boss. Let's go over to our consumables, where I've got the boss bag and boss summon. We're going to start with the boss summon item. So tutorial boss summon. We want to extend mod item and change this to a public class. Override set static defaults. I'm also going to override set defaults. Item dot research unlock count equals 3. Item ID dot sets dot sorting priority boss spawns of type, and we'll do 12. So for the properties of this, we do item dot width equals, we'll do, I think it's 20. We'll keep it at 20. Item dot max stack equals 20. Item dot rarity, we're going to make the item rarity ID equal to blue. Item dot use animation is 30, and use time is also the same. Consumable is equal to true, and item dot use style is equal to item use style ID dot hold up. So We want to add this so that the creative helper can put it in the correct category. So modify research sorting item group is equal to content samples dot creative helper dot item group dot boss spawners. Override can use item, and we want to check that the boss doesn't already exist on the screen, so we do return no NPC of any NPCs of mod content dot NPC type of our tutorial boss. This will not spawn only when there is no boss active. If you want to add some more options, you can do, say, we then return flag. If you want to make sure it doesn't exist, you do flag equals hang on, I don't know how you do this. If NPC dot any NPCs of mod content dot NPC type tutorial boss, oops, return false, and otherwise you could do return true. So let's say you want it in hard mode only. If not hard mode, return false, and that will allow you to create a variety of different ways to spawn. Only spawn if no tutorial boss exists. Only spawn in hard mode. Otherwise return true. So that's how that is, but we're going to just focus on this. So next we're going to override the use item function. Override use item. We're going to do if player dot who am I is equal to main dot my player. We're going to make the game play the raw sound, so play boss raw. Sound engine dot play sound of sound ID dot raw at player dot position. So we want to get the NPC type is equal to mod content dot NPC type of tutorial boss. We only want this to run on a single player world. Otherwise we send it to the server to do. So what we can do is spawn on single player. So we do if main.net mode, oops, dot net mode is not equal to net mode id dot mod player client. So sorry, if you're the client and summons, I believe. NPC dot spawn on player dot who am I and type. This does not directly spawn it on the player, it will spawn to the correct position. Turn true. Otherwise we want to send data. Do net message dot send data of message ID dot spawn boss use license start event, and we do number player dot who am I number 2 of type, and then we return true. And then you can obviously add the recipe, which I'll leave for the time being. Actually, no, I'll show you. Public override add recipe, create recipe, dot add ingredient, and we'll do our tutorial bar. Do 20. Add tile ID dot Tmodloader dot register. Just make it be like another summon item and have it spawn at the demon altar. So now let's do the boss bag. So again, in consumables, tutorial boss bag, mod item, override set static, and override set defaults. Item ID dot sets dot boss bag of type is equal to true. Item ID dot sets dot pre hard mode like boss bag of type is equal to true. So this is something that handles whether development armor can drop, I believe. And then the item research unlock count is equal to 3. Item.max stack is equal to item.common. Oops. I need to add using Terraria up here. Item.common max stack. Item.consumable is equal to true. Item.width equals 24. Item.height is equal to 24. Item.var is equal to item gravity ID dot purple, and item.expert is equal to true, as this is spawned in an expert world. Next, we want to make sure you can right click to do override. Can right click, we'll just do return true. Then we override modify item loot. What we're going to do is copy this loot over. You will get a few errors. First thing we're going to do is change NPC loot to item loot. Just make sure there's no issues. And because this is an expert, we want to add some extra items. And as you can only get this in expert, we don't have to put an if statement. Instead, we can just do item loot dot add item drop rule of not scale with luck, and we'll do our vanity shirt. And we'll do 3. And we can also add money. Item loot dot add item drop rule. Coins based on NPC value of mod content dot NPC type tutorial boss. Nope, not tutorial boss bag, tutorial boss. So now that's done, we want to set up the boss down system. We're going to go over to common systems. We're going to create a new class that's going to be called boss downed system. Switch over to that. So again, extend mod system. We're going to create a public static all downed tutorial boss is equal to false. Then we want to override a few settings. First of all, clear world. Do down to tutorial boss is equal to false. We want to make sure this stuff gets saved and sent over to different clients. So we do override, save world data, and we do tag. No, we don't. We do if down tutorial boss is tag down tutorial boss equal to true. Actually, I'm going to change this. Down tutorial boss is equal to down tutorial boss. Override load world data. Down tutorial boss is equal to tag dot get all down tutorial boss. Now for the network stuff. So override net send. For this we can do writer. Actually, first of all we need to do var flags is equal to new bits byte. At flags 0 we want to set down to tutorial boss. So this is a way to use bits to confirm if a boss is down. So in this case we have an array of 8 elements that can either be true or false. So it would be a 1 or a 0 in this case. This will create a byte that represents each thing. If I actually bring up, so in this case when our boss is defeated we're setting that to 1. All the others, let's say we have a 5th boss and we defeat that, we set that to 1. So the bits bytes flags can look like this. And because you can only have up to 8, if all were defeated the value would be 255. So you'd have to create another bits bytes for any bosses otherwise, and they'd be counted as something separate from what we have. So we want to then do writer.write flags. For net receive we want to do basically the reverse, which is bits bytes flags is equal to reader.read byte, and then down to tutorial boss is equal to flags 0. Even if there isn't a flag, by default they're all set to 1. So if you did that by accident it wouldn't throw an error, it would just return false every time. So that's the down system. So let's jump back over to our tutorial boss so we can get this working. And we want to override the on kill. And for this we do npc.set event flag cleared of reference the boss downed system dot down tutorial boss, and then we do -1 for the event ID. This will ensure that this gets set to true when the boss is defeated. So I think that's going to cover it for part 1. In part 2 we will cover the creating of the AI and the projectile, because there's quite a lot that's going to go into the AI itself. We're going to be creating a state machine that's going to allow us to have different states, different phases, handling of different times and so forth. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this video has been helpful, and hopefully you will be excited for the next part that will be next week when after this video is uploaded. So you haven't got long to wait. So until then, thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Be sure to give this video a like if you haven't, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not. Until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.